Well, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the final edition of Where I Went Wrong. It's not going away. It's just the name's changing. That is all. And yeah, it may be the placement where it'll be placed, but as far as right now, it's just going to be literally just the name. It's the same exact concept. It's going to be a different name, but this is the final Where I Went Wrong video as far as it's being titled Where I Went Wrong in a standalone video. Yeah, so in this edition of Where I Went Wrong, I'll be doing Where I Went Wrong, UFC Fight Night, Song versus Simone. Went 6-5, broke that 3-week, 500 streak. I was like 500 this week, 500 that week, 500 this week. So 3 weeks in a row went 500. So I went one above 500, 6-5. So broke that 500 streak. In a funny way, because the card happened to be 11 fights and not 12. It probably would have been 6-6 again or something. But hey, you break it some way, and then you just turn that 6-5 to like 8-3 your next card, or your 8-2 or whatever the case next week. So it's broken, and let's keep going up. It's one up, but let's turn that to a 2, turn that to 3, turn that to 4, turn that to 5. And let's even try to go for a perfect maybe by the end of this year. So yeah. Yeah, went 6-5 with this card. It was a pretty wild card, just but I still, on top of being a wild card, yeah. Yeah, 65 ain't all that bad for this card. It's pretty solid for card. I saw a lot of people, real good people, like have terrible cards with, and so the fact that I went up, it was positive. It was even a good note. So, but yeah, not patting myself on the shoulder. This is where I went wrong. Let's focus on L 6-5, 6 of 11. The first L was Haley Cowan versus Jamie Lynn Horth, and I think before I really start getting into it, I think like 4 of my 5 L's were debuting fighters, and this year has been terrible for debuting fighters. And also the debuting fighters I faded for this card. It's not like they had the greatest resume to lean to them. So like they didn't have the greatest resume. They weren't this breakout star. And we seen people that have, were supposed to be stars and come into UFC, or at least come in with like some impact, come in and lose and look flat in their fights, or come out looking good for the first round and fade. We have been seeing plenty of guys and women who have, like I said, have actually had, the solid resumes backing them coming in. And not even fight the best competition and still come up short. So the fact that these people didn't necessarily have the greatest resumes, a lot of them had records where they were just fighting literally 4-4, 5-4, 11-8, mediocre cans, and they come to UFC, and every single person who debuted on this card won. So a year that has been terrible for debuting fighters so far. And in general, debuting fighters don't do all that great unless they're just such a super stud in general, but especially the year, even the studs have been losing this year, debuting. So the fact that these kind of not standout studs, I'm not expecting none of these people that have won this card to really be amazing. Maybe what's his name, Trey Waters. Maybe there's more potential, but the rest of people, I just see them quickly fizzling out. To be honest, in my honest opinion, no hater rate. They're not mad because my pick didn't go right. I just don't see these guys and gals really having great stellar careers. I see them roughly fizzling out. Yeah, but anyway, now let's just get back to the video. So 400 minutes into this video, back to the actual concept of this video, the actual purpose of this video. Haley Cowan versus Jamie Lynn Horth. Over Haley Cowan, I saw a lot of people just going against Haley Cowan just because they feel she was mediocre. And I think her couple of her fights that fell through, I was leaning against her for that. And I feel like I would have been justified leaning against her for that, because these other women I think she was supposed to fight had actually had fights in UFC. I have actually seen evolution from them, improvement. And I feel like they had the skills and tools to beat her. Whereas Jamie Lynn Horth on the other side, like a lot of people just lean against her purely for the fact that they just didn't like Haley Cowan. Like, she's mediocre. She sucks. She's a scrub. Let's just go with this woman. We have not seen a single tape from her. She should be able to beat. I don't care who she is or who she beat or this and that. Hey, she beat Lupita Godinez twice as amateur, who's not even a bantamweight, really a strawweight, who has had no success beyond strawweight. But yeah, she beat her twice in the amateurs, not even in the pros. So that's enough for her to beat Haley Cowan. Haley Cowan's a scrub. Literally no zero tape study. They just went and do $100, $203. But yeah, it paid out for y'all. But like, I couldn't get behind that logic. Like, I'm picking Haley Cowan, but am I saying, oh my gosh, I'm gonna bet $400 on Haley Cowan because she's a dog and all. There's no tape on the other woman. No, I was saying like, I'll go Haley Cowan. I have no tape on this other woman. She's older than Haley Cowan. She's coming up from 125 to fight a truer 135 or Haley Cowan. Haley Cowan has 4 times at 125, but she has had more fights and actually had experience at 135. Whereas again, Jamie Lynn Horth is just debuting in the UFC and at 135, and she's the older fighter. So it's a lot of facts I wasn't liking for her, and plus it wasn't a lot of tape on her. It's not like she had a stellar record of fighting such good people. I think she only had like her most recent win prior to this one, her only real decent win. I mean, other cases had showed good count. And even with the way I could predict a fighter like Jamie Lynn Horth to win this based off only judging her record, And then judging some of the tendencies I saw for Haley Cowan was maybe in the grappling department, because in her last fight prior to this one, on her contender series fight, Cowan did give her like 4 minutes of control time in the second round, and then when she got reversed or whatever in the third round of that last fight, she just spent the entirety of that last round after getting reversed on bottom, and I think even almost got tapped out in that last minute or so, or last 30 seconds or so. So like, this is Jamie Lynn North, like she has good grappling skills just based off only truly assumption, no video footage. So I was thinking maybe the case where she'd be the more technical grappler, and then she'd be able to find ways to get Cowan to the mat and maybe just ground out decision over her, or maybe tap her out because Cowan struggles to get off her back, or struggles to get off the ground. But it's not the path I was leaning if I would have leaned to Jamie Lynn North just based off Haley Cowan sucks. But in reality, what actually happened was Haley Cowan had more success in the grappling, was the better had more success in the grappling. I'm not gonna say better grappling, but she had more success in the grappling. Probably the fact that she is a 35er and she did come overweight, so she had definitely won the grappling battle in that one. And Jamie Lynn North won the striking battle. So I was kind of thinking it'd be a little better way. I thought Haley Cowan wouldn't really be to have the success in the takedowns, or wouldn't really be as eager to get a lot of takedowns. Probably wall the stall and probably just volume puncher and try to hold her against the cage. That's what I thought it would be. And I thought Jamie North win out. I think in the case she'd be able to get position on the ground through reversal or score her own takedowns and control. So yeah, the whole concept of the fight, I just think wasn't there for me. So like, I just seen it's more so the logic wasn't that good. I seen Haley Cowan, this footage on her IG, just actual footage out her of her fights. She was on the contender series. There's more stuff to back her. But I was low confidence. It wasn't no high confidence, no low confidence. It was a low confidence fight because I don't know. I'm not impressed with Haley Cowan. Wasn't impressed with Haley Cowan going into the fight. Not in that fight. Wasn't impressed with Jamie North in that fight. But nonetheless, like, it was a low confidence pick, and I just feel largely the logic was bad on to lean to Jamie Lynn North. But it is what it is. She got to win, and it was actually pretty close too. So in reality, it would have been bad if Haley Cowan won out. So all in all, I talked a lot about this fight, but I don't feel bad at all about this one. And I could definitely say I could easily fade both women. But luckily for Jamie Lynn North, she's going to probably drop down to flyweight her next fight. So that's going to probably change things up, and she'll have a full camp. So you could expect to see a better Jamie Lynn North. With Haley Cowan, we've seen Haley Cowan now. And we've seen more of her flaws exposed in this one. And yeah, so definitely looking probably fade Haley Cowan in her next fight. Jamie Lynn North on the side, depending on who she matches. I could definitely see a lot of women I would fade her against, but they probably ain't gonna give her a fast track. They probably gonna give her a step down or something at flyweight, but we'll see. But all in all, not super impressed with either woman. I'll almost say so. First L. Second L was Journey Newson versus Marcus McGee. And I talked some trash in this one, but I think went with like average confidence. But again, it was like Marcus McGee, like him. When I look at his record, I think most of his wins were like 4-4 guys, 5-4 guys. He didn't really have that many fights professionally. I think we had like less than 10 fights combined, wins and losses. Fighting like guys 5-4, 4-4, 0-1, 1-0, and like no stellar competition. I think the best guy he fought was like 7-4 or something. So like, or what, 11-3, 11-4. I think that was the loss he had actually. So I couldn't really get behind to do it. And like he only really showed striking for the most part. And I think a couple instances he did show grappling did not look the best. So it was like hard to even lean to him. I saw like Journey Newson is this and that and stuff. I wasn't super impressed with Journey Newson, but I have seen plenty of fighters where, a guy that doesn't look all that great in the UFC, like Journey Newson, comes in there and fights. Even one of his wins, most recent wins, when he came back from that 2-year layoff, he fought a debuting fighter. He had, I think he was coming off a head kick loss. And he fought a pretty decent looking fighter who had a contender series fight. And he showed that veteran savvy and was able to win the fight. And I thought it could be a similar case here. Maybe even a little bit better. But yeah. But Marcus McGee came in there, like that's the questionable factor. That's why, even though it seemed like maybe Journey Newson in that spot should be a high or even a lot. Remember, not a lot, like a high confidence pick in that one. That's why I was like around the average there, because it's not like Journey Newson is such a trustworthy fighter. He's not a fighter that comes through all the time. And I think with this fight, it even more cements the fact that Journey Newson might be a guy that isn't a favorite. He just fails just about every single time. Yeah, I think he was a favorite against what's his name? Dude who head kicked him, I forget his name right now. Boston dude, I forget his name, but dude kicked his head off. Was a favorite. This one got choked out, dropped and choked out. So yeah, and I guess as far as my logic, where I could get better on, that's the cool part of this video, where it's not like all speculative, more like what can I actually use from these L's to get better or to calculate, to learn, not just talk. Yeah, with Journey Newson, where I feel like I definitely went wrong with Journey Newson is I feel his takedown defense, not his takedown defense, his takedown offense isn't the greatest. He doesn't really use his jiu-jitsu offensively enough. And even from the tape, like I said, the little bit of tape I've seen on that dude, I would say he was the better striker. And I admitted to that. I think he was the better striker. Like, I don't really like levels competition. I feel like, it could be this, could be that. But I did feel like he was a more fluid striker and whatnot and a better striker. And yeah, if Jordan Newson's path to victory is gonna be his wrestling and grappling, which he really doesn't use too much, that's kind of a hard sell. And he kind of more so just leaning on the fact that dogs ain't really doing that well in the UFC. I mean, not dogs, well, debuting fighters ain't really doing it well in the UFC, and his record really isn't all that. And kind of like, even though he might look smoother than this, the levels when he comes up in level, typically even this guy looks stiff and clunky, he'll still be the smooth looking striker or a smoother looking fighter who's been fighting guys who like 5-5. Everybody can look like the world beater when they beat in scrubs. That's what I was kind of leaning to. But I guess the two factors I can lean to that can help me in the future, I guess, with Jordan Newson and picks like, fighters like him is, how's he doing in the spot of his favorite? How does he do in dog spots? Guy seems to drop the ball every single time in a favorite spot. He's going against a guy who he seemed like he's a more well-rounded fighter than, but the path to victory for him seemingly going to rely on the grappling, and this guy doesn't grapple like that. Even though he could just recently got his black belt and this and that, he doesn't really grapple too much. He might mix it in every now and then, but you probably gonna get like 4 takedown attempts, well, 3 takedown, or like 4 takedown attempts max, probably 2 successful score takedown. You're not getting more than that. And he's not gonna tap nobody out, at least unless they literally got 0 grappling skills or something like that. So that probably could have been clear lean. But do I feel bad about leaning against Marcus McGee? No, maybe talking a little bit more trash just because sprinkling that trash talk in there. That's probably what I feel a little bit bad about. But picking Jordan Newson in that spot, I don't feel all too bad about. And also, not like I say, oh, this is a betting spot or anything. But yeah. Maybe in the distance why would have been a good bet. But I think ultimately I just avoided. Matter of fact, I did ultimately avoid that fight on the betting aspect. But yeah, I don't feel bad about that fight at all, to be honest. I say outside of talking trash, but as far as the pick, I feel like it was good logic behind that pick. It was like, Martin McGee was this superstar who been winning respectable belts or fighting respectable organizations, fighting respectable guys, maybe trading wins and losses with good guys, and but nah, I think all his wins outside this point had been legit scrubs. And Jordan Newson, I think at this point, clearly the biggest win of his whole career. But like I was saying, with a lot of guys, I don't feel like he's gonna do all that stellar in the UFC. I feel like better guys with that, after we use their grappling, will take him down, choke him out, and it will be better strikers and stuff. And guys that will be a push and just maybe take out some of that energy from him, and then maybe outstrike him, maybe decision him, maybe tap him out. There's gonna be a whole lot of ways for guys to dissect him. I don't see him having a very high ceiling in the UFC at all. Gonna see him fizzle out probably at the lower end of the UFC. And maybe they might feed him to one decent guy on short notice and they'll pick him apart. And yeah, but that's just my assessment. Now, third L was Stephanie Egger versus Irina Alekseeva. And what I want I go low, I want average confidence here. But yeah. I played a smart play on this one though. I went in the distance. And in the distance was only minus 110. So you basically getting your money back. So you put $100 down. Well, you're not getting you probably get like $90 back. But yeah, like you getting damn near what you put back. So you doubling your money. So you had 500. I'm not saying you get 500 back, but you probably get like close to 500 back. You're getting close to exactly what you put back. So you're getting close to double your money on that. And I say in the distance because yeah, that's another, like, let me just throw a little note in there. I feel like a lot of people try to be so like, oh, I know everything. I'm gonna go for the exact thing, but sometimes you don't have to be exact to win. You could get the same outcome or the same money for not being exactly sure. Like you might get plus the differential might be 20 or 10. I said 20 or 10. Like what I'm saying, titties. You might get 20 or 10. So it might be plus 110 versus minus 100 or minus 110, plus 1, well, yeah, plus 110 or minus 110. It might be that close in difference. But you get a better outcome. Like say, I'm gonna pick a general sub. General sub is like minus 110 versus your fighter to win by sub because he's the submission artist. So his only way gonna win gonna be minus 110. There's something fluky happen, he gets subbed. So by the other guy, but so you still plus minus 110. So your bet still goes through. So if the odds are really that different, just go for the general sometimes. You might lose a little couple percentage here, but you're going to have a bigger target to hit. And so I just went with the in the distance. Even though I was pretty confident in Stephanie Egger get the sub, I just like, hey, the odds ain't that different. Let me go here. I know it was I think in that Cedric Dumas fight, that was a case where I was, put a little bit too much confidence in Cedric Dumas where the general sub bet wasn't that far off from this Cedric Dumas sub. So you would just went with general sub, you would have got it anyway. Your guy lost, your pick was wrong, but hey, you picked general sub, but you only lost. I mean, you didn't lose no money. You won. You lost money if you picked Sadriki Dumas sub, but you put general sub, it's not that big a difference, and your bet still goes in. So it's like you might look smart, like I picked the perfect guy, I picked the guy, I picked the round, but that you probably have a 30-40% accuracy versus you pick a general sub, you might get a little, like I said, lose a couple dollars that you would have gained, but you don't lose the whole bet. Well, I mean, you don't lose the whole bet at all. Your bet still go. You won the bet because you picked it. But I'm talking too much, but you get what I'm trying to say. If it ain't that big a difference, I can see like, oh, it's plus 900 or something. Then you can bet $10. Then you bet a smaller pot, or you put a smaller investment in there, and you hit for a bigger target. So you don't have to bet as much, and you could still win. Then that's the case. But if it's like, I want to put a good bit of money on this one, I'm gonna go here. Yeah. So I'm drifting off, but yeah. I see what I see from it was a case again with Irina Alekseeva. It was a case of another fighter who did have the best resume coming in. I'm not saying they had a bunch of losses or anything like that. She did have a loss, but level competition she fought didn't look all that good. And her style just did not look that great, to be honest. Like, she's very aggressive. She kind of gives away a lot of technique to come there and swinging shots. Even in this fight, she was swinging very wild in this one. They got into a little grappling situation, but I guess she kind of taped Stephanie Egger well. This how judokas set up in the clinch a little bit. And then she went for that knee bar. She rolled for a knee bar, so she knew she was gonna get it at that angle, because they were trying to put the hip to you already. Then she just dropped down for the knee bar because her leg was already gonna be in that position because this is how judokas operate. So she kind of played a little bit. So smart IQ, like the style is still kind of sloppy on offense as far as striking, but she showed her jiu-jitsu chops, and she showed the fact that she probably had a good study of how Egger sets her hips up and how judoka is set up in clinching positions, and she was able to get that knee bar right there. And that's typically not something judoka. Matter of fact, I don't really know if judo people even go for a knee bar. I know they go for a lot of arms and stuff, and slams and throws, and maybe some different little chokes. But I don't know if they even tack legs, so they don't not the best at defending legs because that's not something that's really in judo, the arsenal of judos. At least not modern judo. I know probably ancient judo they probably train for everything, punched and kicked and all that stuff. But modern competitive judo, it's like I don't think there's no leg locks really in that, or I don't really see a whole lot of leg locks or known leg locks. But then again, I don't follow modern judo or anything, so but I haven't seen it. Yeah, so yeah, just based off the tape, like I can't say, oh, going forward, I learned something so much about this fight. I didn't play this fight out several, not this fight, but a match like this. I feel like this one gonna go in the hole. You shoot is gonna go in 90% of the time, like you picking Stephanie Egger, like or a fighter that's in Stephanie Egger position. Like the more you've seen, the more technical fighter, the more experienced fighter coming in with this debuting fighter who, at that point, hadn't really shown clean skills just yet. It's shown aggression, shown passion and aggression, but not true skills yet. Like I said, sometimes you're gonna get that 1 out of 10 times where they're gonna show something a little different. Like they're gonna show evolution in their game. They're gonna show some techniques they have not shown previously, or at least on decent competition. Like you gonna get that. Or now this person is gonna come to their own, or or maybe that 1 out of 10 times where they're just gonna catch them. Like they're gonna come in sloppy, but they're gonna catch the other fighter. Just catch them, and they're not gonna be able to deal with the aggression and gonna get swallowed up by the aggression. But yeah, I don't feel bad at all about this pick as far as picking Stephanie Egger. Again, I just feel like Alekseeva did like prior to this fight, she didn't show nothing that impressed me. Is all I'm saying. She did not show nothing impressive. Her striking was sloppy. Still to this point, looked pretty sloppy. But she made a good read on her opponent, and I guess that part of her strategy in this one, and it came through, and it came through happy. She got the knee bar, got her out of there, and won the fight. So good for her. Am I super impressed? I'm super impressed with the adjustment or how she took that fight or that knee bar, how she set it up. But still feel like she got to come a long way. And I think just that having that tool alone it's gonna get pretty old pretty quickly. Like, oh, I know what she's doing. She know when she get here, she's gonna try to go for the knee bar. It's gonna be people better at defending knee bars and stuff. They probably gonna end up defending knee bar and then taking her back and probably strangling her or something in the future. Like, and now it's not something you didn't expect. I seen it happen. I was like, you really got that much good tape on. This is your best tape, and I'm gonna watch this fight a bunch of times and see how you set it up, what you did, and your process behind doing it. They're gonna be able to easily deal with it, or at least be better prepared to deal with it, and then make you pay for it in the future. But yeah, good win, good read, and good strategy, I guess. So good for her. Stephanie Egger, I guess at this point, this proves. I guess this shows you like, you never really expect her to really go up in the division, but now you can kind of start expecting her to kind of have like trade wins and losses and kind of plateau and maybe then fall off. But Alexia, I think she can definitely pick up some wins for sure going forward at the lower end. I don't think they're gonna rush her, but Yeah, that's all. I already talked too much about this particular fight. But yeah, that's third L. Fourth L was Julian Erosa versus Fernando Padilla or Padilla. And this is the case, like my fact, I'm gonna be a broken record. I'm going to be a broken record again. A fighter who hadn't really shown me nothing, or hadn't shown me what I wanted to see leading into their UFC debut, a debuting fighter, and they didn't show me what I needed to see leading to. Matter of fact, you could say about the main event, he hadn't really shown me what um Song hadn't really shown me what I needed to be seeing, and then he showed me on the fight. So didn't show me what I needed to see leading up to the fight, but in the fight he showed me, I guess, what I'm going to need to know now. And yes, this fight kind of showed me what I'm going to need to know now. Didn't show me what I know. What are you even saying? Didn't show me what I needed to know prior to the fight, but show me what I need to know now so I can better predict their fights going forward. But yeah, Padilla, like, he didn't show me to be this powerful fighter. He didn't really have the best resume coming in. He was a very young guy. He took some time off. So with these young guys, they could take the time off and come in and worse, come in. Well, I don't know. Typically, I don't feel like young guys, especially like 26, I don't really don't see them come back with ring rust. Ring rust typically dings for guys like over 30. They have pretty good long careers and fight at a high level, especially at a high level, because that's a high level. You got to be sharp, smooth, slick, and all that stuff at the top level. Lower level, you can be a little bit more wonky, a little bit sloppy out there because it's the lower level. But on top level, there, already seen you fight like 40 times. You like I said, you in your 30s, you've been a great fighter. They seen you fight, probably been a fan of you as well, seen you fight a lot of times. You older, your body got adjust more and this and that. But younger fight, your body off, you could sleep on a rock, come in still looking smooth and slippery and sleek. Take some time off, hit puberty and such, like Padilla did. But yeah, so time off really wasn't gonna affect it too much. But it can be a case of like, are you gonna come back better or are you gonna come back the same? And that's where it is like, and I can't really say, oh, this young fighter, he's gonna come back better. Like, I'm not in camp with the dude. I don't know what he's doing. And I don't think his case like he looked so much better in this one. I think his case that Arosa generally don't have the best chin, and I think he made a bad decision out there. But again, going as far as the I mean, jump to the end, they kind of jump back. I don't feel bad. Yet another pick I don't feel bad about because again, the lead up tape wasn't all that good on Padilla at all. Layoff hadn't shown power, and that's what had typically been the issue for Rosa. And Padilla didn't seem to be a power puncher, maybe a volume puncher. He'd be a scrappy fighter. And it just seemed to be his best arsenal in this. Well, maybe his heart and will, that comes with being a young fighter. Just a young, passionate fighter. But overall, skill-wise, his skill was mostly in his BJJ. Striking-wise, he wasn't really a power puncher, more so a volume puncher. And even this one, it was a volume punching finish. It wasn't like, oh, one big shot. It was a bunch of volume, but constantly touching Rosa, and Rosa not really moving his head that well, responding well. And he's constantly getting touched. And then like it was not the one shot, but the accumulation of shots and the continuing relentless landing of shots, and Rosa not being able to recover. So yeah. But yeah, the tape wasn't really there, and he hadn't really shown to be the trend. And also, Rosa was coming off a pretty bad loss. Took a lot, got finished. But prior to that loss, he was on his best winning streak in his career. So, like, and then Rosa's not this guy that's like over the hill. So I was like, he's not over the hill. He's still pretty solid and stuff. He took a loss to another guy who was in a similar position to him, like in Caceres, who's a solid fighter who has his ups and downs, but the skills are there and the experience is there. And you can expect that from Caceres. Like he'll go out there sometimes have a little lackluster performance, then sometimes he'll go out there have this upsetting performance, like upset fighters and have this breakout performance here and there. Similar with a Rosa. So like it's not like he just lost to some scrub. He lost to Caceres, who's a guy again like similar position as him. So I didn't think I could really lean to this young guy who coming in. Again, another debut fighter with not a whole lot of great prospect behind him or didn't really have the resume yet behind him and coming off a layoff. But yeah, I think the biggest, and I say a little comment, so I knew how Arosa could be. Arosa, the guy, he could sometimes look like have a great performance, and sometimes he could just have like a scratch your head performance. And I think this was a scratch your head performance. So it wasn't fully a case of, oh, this and that. It was, yeah, it was kind of this and that, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. It was the sequence that finished him was kind of weird. Like he threw a punch, well, he was drawing a punch. He just kind of pulled it back, like I don't know, like he kind of hung his chin out there like this. And it's not like he got a good head movement, so he kind of just put his head out there, like pretty much like almost like, please hit me, like throw a punch, pull it back, then hold it there. It's like even, oh wait, like let me stop, then pull my, let me duck, let me move my head. Like he kind of stuck, and he's hung his head out to the side like that. And Padilla just like started cracking on him. And Rose never really picked his hands up again after getting cracked. Like he just At that point, his hand was out there. He dropped it. He left him out there, and that's how his head was the whole time. He was moving like just moving back, getting punched around. Like he was trying to move his head, but barely. Like he was moving his head like this much. Like it wasn't helping. Like he's getting his head was still on target to get tagged, and that's what happened. You getting tagged. You get hurt. You get clipped. You don't defend. You gonna keep getting hurt unless you got some iron chin, which he does not. Maybe you could get away with that. Get cracked a couple times. You're like, woo, good shot, thumbs up. And you go back there and start fighting. But you don't got a great chin or a good chin, you get caught like that, the ref gonna stop the fight. You're gonna get dropped, you're gonna get wobbled. Yeah. Or at least got good defense on top of that. But yeah, I talk too much about that one. And like ultimately, I really don't feel too bad about none of these losses. Like, cause again, it was just guys that and gals that weren't, or guys and girls that weren't showing me a lot. And then really a lot of these fighters that did lose. I guess the thing on that side is questionable fighters debut and questionable fighters that were fighting. Like they kind of inconsistent. Edgar hadn't really shown to be that inconsistent, to be honest. But Newson has shown to be inconsistent. Rosa for sure inconsistent. And yeah, like pretty most of them have shown to be inconsistent or had, been around long enough to show inconsistencies and not to be that fighter that comes through, especially in spots that they should win. And really be these guys that come through when they shouldn't win, like it's dogs, but don't really do the best, it's favorites. That's kind of been them. The majority of them. All right, now to the main event, wrap this video up. Had Final L was the main event. It was Yadong Song versus Ricky Simone. And as I was saying, this is another case of Song that hadn't shown me that. Like, when you look at his fights, the Stamen fight, Stamen had great success grappling him. Kyler Phillips had great success grappling him and beating him, like pretty dominated him in that fight. And then Corey Sandhagen mixed it up. And he was able, the couple times he did mix it up, or the one time he really mixed up, he got a takedown, he was able to get like a minute and 30 seconds of control time on him. So it seemed like that it was not like old history, like just back to the Stamen fight, which was like 2019. I think the Phillips fight was like in 2021. It was like, it was ancient history that he had issues with grappling. And Marlon Vera, I think, somewhere around that time, maybe a little bit before the Stamen fight, a little bit after the Stamen fight. Probably a little bit, man, I don't know. It was maybe a little bit before that fight. But I don't know, it was several cases where he had shown questionable grappling and had yet not addressed that issue in his game. But all that being said, wrap this video up. Ain't gonna talk too much about that. Song passed the test with flying colors. As I was saying, this is gonna be the test for him if he could pass it. First round stoppage might not address anything, but he could go rounds and rounds and maybe beat him to a decision or knock him out late or stop him late. It would address the question. And for now, for sure, he has addressed the question. He has addressed it with an A+. He held, I think, Simone to 2 takedowns, and I think like a minute or something control time or less, probably like 40 seconds. So I think got taken down to maybe 16 seconds of control time, 14, 5, 8 seconds here. So really little to no control time and 2 takedowns. So, and he was able to stop in 5 rounds. He was able to go rounds with him, was able to stuff takedowns, hold him to 2, and hold him to little to no control time. So again, he passed the test with flying colors. Prior to this, I can go off with tape I've seen, and the tape I've seen kind of led me otherwise. So that's why I leaned Ricky Simone. And like I said, Simone had been looking good, had been making improvements, been fighting better competition in my opinion, or beating better competition in my opinion than Song Yadong or Yadong Song. But yeah, Yadong Song's a young guy, and they can make improvements, and he makes improvements. I think he's still he's under 28. I think like 25 or something. I think I'm not even going to go back on history, but obviously in the past he was even younger. So he's still a couple years, good couple years before his prime, and the kid's only getting better. And he's already ranked pretty high in the division. So again, the ceiling's only up, but also, even though the ceiling is he's so close to the ceiling right now as far as the top fighters, I'm not saying to his potential, but as far as in the division, he's so high in the division, he's going to have to fight a better guy. So it's good for him that he's so young and skilled and in such a good position, but also scary in a way, because when you're that young and you get to put to this high position and you lose at these high levels, it could put you in a position where, damn, I already lost I'm only fighting the best guys. I'm gonna get this time to really build myself. I'm already here. It might feel like it's good, but when you don't win at this level, it's like I already lost or maybe like Piotr Jan, I already lost to the champion Aljo twice. Especially in the case when you actually legitimately lose twice, not just one legitimate loss, but like say Aljo tapped decision in Piotr Jan, he submitted Piotr Jan the one time. Like, damn, I'm already shut out from fighting the champ. Nobody want to see me fight a champ. Now I gotta wait till I'm 30 when the champion is 40 and he retired or smells a beast or something. But hey, he's looking pretty good. He looked pretty good against Corey Sandhagen, who could be in position to fight for title soon, maybe win the title, depending on who holds the belt. And yeah, he's in a good spot. But yeah, you always got the butts. Like, But you win, there's no buts. Just like this one. You could say, he won this fight, but the wrestling looked questionable. Like, nah, there's no buts in this performance, right? He shut the wrestling down, the grappling of Simone was able to stop him on the feet and was able to go rounds, look clean and good for 5 rounds, and was able to put a stamp on him. So A+ performance and A+ finish. So solid win for Yadong Song, Ricky Simone. I think this definitely puts a stop to his momentum heavily right here. And I kind of put him in a questionable position. Like I feel like he could stack some wins together for sure. But can he get back on track to a title shot? Probably. Will he ever win a title? I think with this win, I think the submit's like, yeah, this guy ain't winning the title. This kind of just all. He's not going to 45 and win no title. He can't make 125. And I think Song is only 25, is only get better. So that's a guy that's right in your way. That's going to beat you likely the next couple times y'all fight. If y'all do fight again, maybe get a Marab matchup. I think Marab probably beats him this time now, especially coming off a loss for Simone. So he's in a questionable position. Maybe he'll be a good matchup for Petr Yan. I think he has a good chance in the Petr Yan fight. But Petr Yan probably seeing this tape and now probably been hungry and angry, probably gonna stop him. Probably similar to Song Yadong, probably a late stoppage after kind of shutting the grappling down and filling him out and breaking him down over the course of the fight. But yes, both are solid guys, but I think Song Yadong definitely his stocks rise heavily. I think Simone's, unfortunately, his stocks plummet with this loss, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the video. Went 6-5, 6-11. I think like 4 of my 5 L's were debuting fighters, and one I only got in on one of those debuting fighters, and that was Trey Waters. But we talking about wins and not losses. I mean, we talking about losses, not wins. Maybe I'll do where I went right and I didn't focus on my wins, but that's not the video. But yeah, not dogs. They weren't dogs, but the debut fighters were definitely biting that night, and that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.